Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Keytime Sports. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the keyonmillions.co. Here is my media feed. Here is my merchandise. We just rolled out new merchandise last month because today starts a new month, April 1st. Here is our new logo. This is the new brand. This is what we are starting off with, and we are about to launch this in just a few weeks. And here is my profile so that you will know it is me. Here it is. Here's my profile. So we had a 5 game slate last night, and it seemed like almost every game went down to the buzzer. First, I'm gonna start off with the Phoenix Suns and the Orlando Magic. Now, I've been saying over the past month and a half, the Orlando Magic, they are a team that is not really strong. Could be a first round exit or possibly even a second round exit because the Orlando Magic, once they start facing those top notch teams like the Celtics, the Knicks, the Pistons, and the Cavaliers, when you get there, it just seems like the Orlando Magic can't really get over that hump. And they have been going to the playoffs for the last 3 years, and they haven't been able to get over that hump. But before I get into that, let's talk about the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns last night, their scores: Dylan Brooks, 9 points in 22 minutes. Ozzy Agudaro, 5 points in 22 minutes. Devin Booker, 34 points in 36 minutes. Colin Gillespie, 11 points in 27 minutes. Jalen Green, 8 points in 20 minutes. Royce O'Neal, 14 points in 31 minutes. Rasheer Fleming, 11 points in 16 minutes. Kaman Mola, 0 points, big old goose egg, in 3 minutes. Grayson Allen, 10 points in 32 minutes. Jonathan Goodwin, 9 points in 29 minutes. And everybody else did not play because of coach's decision. For the Orlando Magic, Pablo Banchero, 19 points in 37 minutes. Tristan da Silvia, 9 points in 25 minutes. Wendell Carter Jr., 15 points in 28 minutes. Desmond Bain, 21 points in 37 minutes. Jalen Suggs, 20 points in 38 minutes. Bench production for the Orlando Magic: 4 points in 4 minutes for Mortez Wagner. Jamal Cain, 12 points in 20 minutes. Goga Batiste, 3 points in 14 minutes. Javon Carter, 0 points, big old goose egg for him, in 22 minutes. Jet Howard, 12 points in 14 minutes. Noah Penda. Jace Richardson did not play because of coach's decision. Now let's get into the team statistics and the efficiency of this game. And I'm going to tell you all, I'm going to give you all the updated standings after last night's NBA play. So, for the statistics, Magic, they they had the advantage in shooting percentage from the floor with 44%. 3-point percentage was pretty much down, but they shot less. Magic shot less threes last night, but they were more efficient from the 3-point line. Then we get into free throws. Free throw percentage, 85% for the Orlando Magic, 77% for the Phoenix Suns. Rebounds, +5 for the Magic, 46-41. Offensive rebounds, +2 for the Phoenix Suns. Defensive rebounds, +7 for the Orlando Magic. Assists, dead even at 24. Steals, +4 for the Orlando Magic. Turnovers, both teams had at least 20 turnovers. 25 for the Magic and 20 for the Suns. Now, if the Magic was playing any other team, they would have lost because in history, in the NBA, a team that turns the ball over 20 plus times they go on to lose 75% of the time. And the Phoenix Suns, now I'm going to get into the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns, coming into the season, we all had them as a play-in team. We did. We all had them at a play-in team or not even to make it to the playoffs. But for the Phoenix Suns to make it this far and still have a chance at making the playoffs, making the playoffs. So right now, the Phoenix Suns are 7th in the West. For them to even be in this situation, it goes how well the coaching staff has been putting those players in the right position. Because Phoenix, I expected them to be in the same boat as the Memphis Grizzlies and the Sacramento Kings, those type of teams right there. But for them to be very, very resilient and still have a chance at making the playoffs, it's a good story. But let me get back to the Orlando Magic. Now, the Orlando Magic, they are currently in a three-way tie for the 8th spot in the East. Now, I've been saying that the East, almost anybody can come out of the East because we already know that Detroit, they have significant injuries. Cade Cunningham, pretty much their leading scorer, he is out for the foreseeable future. Then we get to the last three teams that are in the running for the play-in tournament and then the playoffs. Orlando Magic, Miami Heat, and the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets have came on strong in the last 26 games for the Charlotte Hornets. They've won 23 of their previous 26 games, which is good. Because I didn't think that the Charlotte Hornets would be in the conversation for the play-in tournament, but they are. Now, for the Orlando Magic, they really can't drop no further than 10th because as you see, everybody else below the Charlotte Hornets are eliminated from playoff contention. So we still have a lot of movement in both the West and the East when it comes to what teams are going to play the top two seeds. In the East, it could be either Detroit and Boston. In the West, it could be either Oklahoma City Thunder and the San Antonio Spurs. But one thing that I can say is last night, it was a close game for the Suns and the Magic. And it pretty much came down to the last 3 minutes of this game. As you can see right here, last 5 minutes of the game is tied. Phoenix, they inbound the ball. Then Dylan Brooks, he scores. But here come the Orlando Magic with Pablo Banchero. Down the floor, he gets fouled, gets the and one. He made the free throw. And, he missed the free throw, and it was tied at 107. Now coming on down the floor, Pablo Banchero, we all know that he is the leading scorer for the Orlando Magic. Desmond Bane gets to the basket. He should have got fouled there, but he made the basket. That's all that counts. Desmond Bane again, he makes it, and that was pretty much game over, up by 5 with under 6 seconds left, and that was pretty much game. Now we see where Phoenix Suns. Now, how the Phoenix Suns gonna have the type of favorable matchup in the first round? That's if they make it out of the play-in tournament. Now, if the play-in tournament was to start today, the Phoenix Suns, they would be facing the Golden State Warriors, and that would be that matchup. That would be a pick'em matchup. I don't think that none of the teams that are in the play-in tournament, I don't think any of those teams should be favored. Those are pick'em matchups for me. You can pick either one, and it's all up in the air. You're not gonna have any playoff favorites until you get to the first round of the playoffs. Play-in tournament, I don't even know why they do favorites in the play-in tournament, because anybody can lose in the play-in tournament. So The next game I am going to cover is the Toronto Raptors and the Detroit Pistons. One of the teams that I was just talking about. Toronto Raptors, they are fourth in the East. They are the Toronto Raptors are sixth in the East. And we know that the Detroit Pistons have been number one in the East all season. But most of those wins came with Cade Cunningham at the helm. Now Cade Cunningham is injured, and pretty much the Detroit Pistons is pretty much their entire team is scoring by committee. As you can see, Toronto Raptors, Brandon Ingram, 22 points in 31 minutes. RJ Barrett, 24 points in 31 minutes. Scotty Barnes, 5 points in 28 minutes. Jacob Pelosi, 13 points in 23 minutes. Jacoby Walter, 3 points in 27 minutes. Sandro Maciulevi, bench production for the Raptors. Sandro Maciulevi, 16 points in 22 minutes. Colin Murray Boyles, 14 points in 24 minutes. Garrett Temple, big old goose egg for him in 1 minute. Markelle Fultz, big old goose egg in 1 minute for him. AJ Lawson, 13 points in 19 minutes. Jamal Sheed, 6 points in 29 minutes. Grady Dick, 0 points, big old goose egg for him in 4 minutes. Detroit Pistons, Tobias Harris, 12 points in 33 minutes. Duncan Robinson, 19 points in 29 minutes. Jalen Duren, 31 points in 35 minutes. Azur Thompson, 5 points in 26 minutes. Dennis Jenkins, 21 points in 37 minutes. Bench production for the Detroit Pistons. Paul Reed, 10 points in 13 minutes. Ronald Holland II, 1 point in 13 minutes. Javonte Green, big old goose egg for him in 6 minutes. Carius LeVert, 12 points in 19 minutes. Kelvin Huter, 8 points in 22 minutes. Marcus Sauser, 8 points in 8 minutes. Tulu Smith did not play because of coach's decision. Now, let's get to the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons, they got their work cut out for them because, like I said earlier, it has to be scoring by committee. As you all just looked at the box score for the Detroit Pistons, everybody, the starting five for the Detroit Pistons, everybody has to play at least 28 minutes because you all see with the Pistons bench production. Last night, as far as points coming off of their bench, it was only 35 points. Now, that's pretty good. That is pretty good. But we all know when it comes to the playoffs, bench production, it has to increase from 35, well, in this case for the Pistons, 35 points to about 50 points because some nights the starting five, they are not going to have it. I've seen it happen throughout years of watching basketball when I was younger and even now. You have your top player, he is going to have an inefficient night. And plus, it is going to have to be on those bench players to cover those deficiencies. Now, we all know that the Pistons, they really haven't had many deficiencies when it comes to as far as teams attacking them on the offensive end. But when it comes to the playoffs, and I just want to see who the Detroit Pistons play in the first round because we all know that those lower ranked teams and those teams that are just getting into the playoffs, like on the last day of the season or in the play-in tournament, they have more to lose. Well, excuse me. No, the favorite has more to lose than the team that just barely got in. Because we're not expecting that one team, the weaker team, to give the Detroit Pistons a fight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to give y'all a scenario. So, going back to the last 4 teams play-in tournament. Now, the Detroit Pistons are number 1 team. So, they would play, so the winner of the 76ers and the Charlotte Hornets would play the Detroit Pistons. Now, what I'm going to tell y'all is that the 76ers, they're getting back healthy at the right time, and the Charlotte Hornets are getting back healthy. But one thing that I'm going to say is that if the Detroit Pistons play the Charlotte Hornets, it would not be a surprise if the Charlotte Hornets knock out the Detroit Pistons in the first round. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. Hear me out, because you got for the Charlotte Hornets, I'm going to show you all their roster, and I'm going to see, y'all going to get what I'm talking about. Their roster, Charlotte Hornets roster, their top three players for the Charlotte Hornets is, as far as scoring, you got Brandon Miller, LaMelo Ball, and Con Knippel. Now, those three guys are the driving force for the Charlotte Hornets, and that is why the Charlotte Hornets have pretty much went on this 26-game run, winning 23 games. Now, as far as defensively, Charlotte Hornets, they have been one of the top defenses in the past 20-some-odd games. Now, I do not want, if I'm the Detroit Pistons, what team do I want to face in the first round? I would rather face the 76ers, because I know that the 76ers, when it comes to their bench production, they really don't have a good bench. And the Charlotte Hornets bench production is better than the 76ers. So the Detroit Pistons, they are going to have trouble on their hands, whoever they play in the first round. Whoever. Now, let me get to the Toronto Raptors. Toronto Raptors are 6th right now in the Eastern Conference. They would be facing the New York Knicks. New York Knicks have the same exact problem that the Philadelphia 76ers have. The starting five, their starting five, everybody for the New York Knicks starting five, their average minutes a game is 33 minutes. You are not preserving your starting five enough. If you are Mike Brown and the New York Knicks coaching staff. Now, New York Knicks throughout the entirety of the season, they have had trouble coming up schematically with plays that pretty much fit everybody into the equation. New York Knicks, they are not going to go very far in the playoffs. I would be surprised if the New York Knicks get past the second round. Yeah, I could see them winning versus the Toronto Raptors, but we all know that after the New York Knicks potentially win against the Toronto Raptors, they'll have to face the winner of the Cavaliers and the Atlanta Hawks. And in previous years, the New York Knicks, they've lost to the Cavaliers and they've lost to the Atlanta Hawks back in 2021 and with the Atlanta Hawks in 2022. Y'all could go back and do your research, but that is very accurate information that I'm giving out. Now, for the Toronto Raptors, they are a young, up-and-coming team. The Toronto Raptors are the third youngest team in the NBA, behind OKC and the Detroit Pistons. Now, since we start talking about the third youngest team, we start talking about playoff inexperience. Now, I'm going to tell y'all something. The Toronto Raptors, as far as this team, they are pretty much inexperienced, but Scotty Barnes has playoff experience. R.J. Barrett has playoff experience. Markelle Fultz has playoff experience. Brandon Ingram has playoff experience. A.J. Lawson has playoff experience. Elijah Martin has playoff experience. So that's 7 players that is currently on the Toronto Raptors that have playoff experience with other teams. Now, can that translate for the Toronto Raptors in this potential first round playoff series with the New York Knicks? That remains to be seen, and we are going to see that within a few weeks, because on April 19th is when the NBA playoffs start. So we are going to see what kind of Toronto Raptors team we see, As far as when we get to efficiency, here are the teams. Here are the team statistics. Now the Detroit Pistons, they shot 60% from the floor last night. In NBA history, a team that shoots 60% wins the game 82% of the time. This is when it comes to regular season and playoffs. And we only talking about one game. We're not talking about an entire playoff series, but just one game, whether it's regular season or playoffs. This is exactly what happened. And for 3-point shooting for the Pistons last night, 13 of 23, they were 57%. So you're shooting 60% from the floor, 57% from the 3-point line, and that is pretty much a win-win ratio. Free throw percentage, 87%, 20 of 30, 26 of 30. When we get to assists, pretty much deadlocked in assists. Turnovers, now, the Pistons, they got to do better as far as protecting the ball and keeping the ball out of harm's way. Because 21 turnovers, you're going to get away with that in the regular season and get you a win. But when it comes to the playoffs, 21 turnovers, that is going to get you beat in most situations in the playoffs. Fast break points, Toronto Raptors, +6, 60-54. Largest lead of the game was 23 points for the Pistons. For the Pistons, the Raptors, they did not lead at any point in this game. Now this is what I call having ball control and not preserving your lead, but still attacking the paint, because we've seen this in college basketball where teams, they get up 12 to 13 points and all of a sudden they want to play ball control and not shoot the ball until there's 5 seconds left on the shot clock. But the Detroit Pistons, they show shades of that, but it's been scorer by committee. After Cade Cunningham went down, that is exactly what I said. For the Detroit Pistons, it has to be scorer by committee, and it was scorer by committee, as you all can see. Y'all look at these games. I'm going to go right to the fourth quarter, and the game was pretty much firmly in hand. I'm going to show y'all a couple of more highlights. Then I'm going to show y'all the final score and the team futures. The future outlook for the Detroit Pistons beyond this season is great. They can pretty much make the playoffs for the next 3 years, but after those 3 years, let's see how far they make it to the playoffs, and let's see if the Detroit Pistons can win a championship. That is what we all are going to be asking ourselves. And do I think that the Pistons are a championship contender now? Probably, but you still have OKC out there. You still got Boston out there. You got the Spurs out there. You got 3 teams in the West. I'm going to tell y'all something. You got 3 teams in the West that can pretty much go to the NBA Finals if everything falls into place. When it comes to the West, I'm going to tell y'all these 3 teams. The Lakers, if everything falls into place for them, can go to the NBA Finals. The Denver Nuggets, if everything falls into place with them, they can go to the NBA Finals. And the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, the Minnesota Timberwolves, they've been to the Western Conference the last 2 years, Western Conference Finals, and lost both times. They've lost both times. So now this is where the balance of power comes in at. Now, I'm going to tell y'all the balance of power. Now, everybody can give out, their poll numbers and who they think that is going to win the championship. But realistically, it's all about promoting the matchup and what type of matchup that it is going to be. Now, earlier on, we all saw that Oklahoma City, betting odds for them to win the championship. They are still in the running. And for the MVP in the running is Wemby, Luka, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and Jaylen Brown. Those are the top four. Who is going to get the MVP? Now, if it was me, I would say Shai Gilgeous-Alexander because he has averaged 30 points, 31.5 points throughout the entirety of the season. And he did have a 126 game streak where he scored at least 20 points or more. So we get to a point where it's almost like, now I know that there's a lot of voter fatigue out there, and I know that Shai Gilgeous, he won it last year, but we are awarding the most consistent players and the most consistent scores when it comes to the MVP. In all categories, we are awarding the most consistent, and Shai Gilgeous has been the most consistent. Now, the next game I am going to cover is the New York Knicks, like I was talking about them earlier, and the Houston Rockets. Now, for the New York Knicks, OG Anunoby, 8 points in 38 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns, 22 points in 34 minutes. Josh Hart, 13 points in 29 minutes. Mikal Bridges, 7 points in 34 minutes. Jalen Brunson, 12 points in 37 minutes. Bench production for the New York Knicks. Jeremy Schoen, 2 points in 2 minutes. Pacome Didet, 0 points in 2 minutes. Muhammad Dwaria, 0 points in 2 minutes. Mitchell Robinson, 5 points in 16 minutes. Ariel Hakaporti, 0 points in 2 minutes. Jordan Clarkson, 10 points in 19 minutes. Jose Alvarado, 12 points in 12 minutes. Miles McBride, 3 points in 13 minutes. Tyler Colette, 0 points in 2 minutes. Dylan Jones did not play because of coach's decision. Houston Rockets. What can I say about the Houston Rockets? Before I get into that, I'm going to talk about these player statistics. Kevin Durant, 27 of 35. Jabari Smith Jr., 15 points in 39 minutes. Tarian Eason, 17 points in 30 minutes. Alfred Sengun, 13 points in 30 minutes. Amen Thompson, 17 points in 39 minutes. Jeff Green, 0 points in 2 minutes. Jashawn Tate, 2 points in 11 minutes. Clint Capella, 0 points in 12 minutes. Aaron Holiday, 0 points in 6 minutes. Josh Okogie, 0 points in 2 minutes. J.D. Davidson, 0 points in 2 minutes. Reed Shepard, 20 points in 28 minutes. Dorian Finney-Smith did not play because of coach's decision. As you all can see, when it comes to the statistics for this game, the Houston Rockets, they pretty much edge out the New York Knicks in every statistical category from last night's game. In shooting percentage with 54%, three-point percentage 43%, free throw percentage 75%. They both had 75%. Blocks +4. Turnovers. Knicks had more turnovers than the Rockets, 11-10. Fast break points, 17-15. Points in the paint, 42-38. Largest lead of the game was 21 points for the Houston Rockets. For the Knicks, it was 1 point. Both of these teams, they have the same flaws. The Knicks, their flaws are just more dire. The Knicks, they pretty much emptied their bench last night, and they still couldn't get a good output. Now, for the Rockets, late game situations, that's what's going to hurt them. As you all can see, respectfully, the New York Knicks are third in the East right now, and the Houston Rockets are sixth in the West. Before the season started, most people, including myself, we had the Houston Rockets in one of the top 4 slots. I didn't place the Houston Rockets at the top slot because I already knew Oklahoma City Thunder would have the top spot by default. But the Houston Rockets, most of the games that they've lost, I would say 18 of the 29 games that the Houston Rockets have lost have came from late game mismanagement of the clock, bad shot selection, and turnovers. That's what has hurt the Houston Rockets, and that is what is going to hurt the Houston Rockets in the playoffs. Whoever they play, as of right now, it's looking like it will be the Lakers in the first round, and the Lakers would have home court advantage because the Lakers, I'm going to get into the Lakers a little bit later on in the show, but the Lakers, they hold the tiebreakers with Denver, Minnesota, and the Houston Rockets. So, like I said, at the end of the season, the Lakers, they will be firmly in that third spot. Now, the Lakers, they are going to be one of those teams that are you really don't expect much from the Lakers after what we saw last season and this season. Everybody was saying that the Lakers would be a play-in tournament team, and they were saying that the Phoenix Suns would be in the same place that the Lakers are. But the tables have turned. The Phoenix Suns, they've had little losing streaks throughout the season. And the Lakers, within the last month and a half, they have had winning streaks after winning streaks. Now, when it comes to the Houston Rockets, for the Houston Rockets, what I see is a team that is not really confident in themselves, and the Rockets are the 5th youngest team in the NBA. The only reason what gives them playoff experience is Kevin Durant. Because outside of last season, none of the players that are currently on the Rockets have a consistent amount of playoff experience outside of last season. Now we know Kevin Durant, he's been in the playoffs for the majority of his career. But the Rockets, they are going to need more than just Kevin Durant to get them over the hump. Now, we all know that in today's NBA, the center position, it's really not needed. Only thing you really need is power forward, small forward, shooting guard, and a point guard. Those are pretty much the 4 positions that you need, because a center out there, he's going to cause matchup problems in the worst way for the team, because we all know that a center really can't move the way a point guard, a shooting guard, small forward, and a small forward and a power forward is going to move, because the centers, they are usually just right there guarding the paint and are right up under the basket. But the Rockets, outside of, I'm going to say, Amin Thompson and Alfred Sengun, they really don't have a rim protector and a defensive presence in the paint. So that is what's going to hurt the Rockets. Now, last night, it really didn't hurt the Rockets much, but as you all can see, when it got to the fourth quarter, the Rockets, they had a 17-point lead right there, pretty much. You see that right there? The Knicks, that was one of their 20 turnovers. They had possession of it, and the Houston Rockets got it back. The Houston Rockets, they turned the ball over a lot last night, and as you all can see, the New York Knicks, they tried to make a run at it. Only thing they was able to do was get it under 16 points, and then the New York Knicks, they kept going uphill. As you all can see right here, Kevin Durant, he passes it to his teammate. His teammate makes the basket. Here's Kevin Durant again, coming on down, throwing it out to their three-point shooter. He made a shot, and that was pretty much game over, because as we all can see, the final score ended up at 111-94, and the Rockets, best case scenario for the Rockets as far as record-wise, they finished with 49 wins, and they face the Lakers in the first round. And for the New York Knicks, best case scenario right now, they're going to face the Toronto Raptors. And the Knicks and the Raptors, I'm just going to tell y'all, anybody can come out of that series. There is no clear-cut favorite between the Knicks and the Raptors in this potential first-round playoff series. The only, and I do mean the only two series that I see as a clear-cut favorite is both the two teams in the West and the East, Detroit Pistons. And with the Detroit Pistons, I don't even see that at their matchup, whoever they play in the first round, as a clear-cut favorite. For the Oklahoma City Thunder, I see them as a clear-cut favorite. For the Spurs, I see them as a clear-cut favorite, whoever they play in the first round. The next game I am going to cover is the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Los Angeles Lakers. So, Cleveland Cavaliers starters, Jared Allen, 18 points in 19 minutes. Evan Mobley, 6 points in 22 minutes. James Harden, 17 points in 28 minutes. Donovan Mitchell, 10 points in 24 minutes. Max Strus, 11 points in 23 minutes. Bench production for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Larry Nance Jr., 2 points in 12 minutes. Naquan Tomlin, 9 points in 22 minutes. Thomas Bryant, 14 points in 25 minutes. Dennis Schroeder, 9 points in 19 minutes. Craig Porter Jr., 16 minutes, 0 points. Keon Ellis, 7 points in 19 minutes. Tyrese Proctor, 10 points in 12 minutes. For the Los Angeles Lakers and their starters, LeBron James, 14 points in 31 minutes. Jake LaRivia, 14 points in 38 minutes. DeAndre Ayton, I got to give DeAndre Ayton credit, because now I remember early March, he had pretty much of a he was in much of a scoring funk, as you will. He wasn't able to pretty much assert himself like he needs to, but for him having 18 points in 28 minutes, that's pretty much asserting yourself and letting everybody know that you are a dominant presence in the paint and in front of the basket. So I'm happy about that. Luka Doncic, 42 points in 34 minutes. Austin Reeves, 19 points in 37 minutes. Bench production for the Los Angeles Lakers. Rui Hachimura, 14 points in 19 minutes. Drew Timme, 0 points in 1 minute. Dalton Knecht, 0 points in 1 minute. Odo Thiero, 0 points in 1 minute. Jackson Hayes, 4 points in 19 minutes. Luke Kennard, 2 points in 23 minutes. Kobe Buffkin, 0 points in 1 minute. Bronny James, 0 points in 7 minutes. Max Kleber and Jared Vanderbilt did not play because of coach's decision. Now, for the statistics in this game. See, this is why I said for the Lakers, in order for them to go where they have to go, I said this 2 months ago, that I said the Lakers, we are always used to seeing LeBron James bring the ball up the floor. But now he is pretty much taking a back seat to And that this is a good thing. He is pretty much taking a back seat to Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic. But LeBron, he still makes his impact on the game. He is still scoring at an efficient rate, and he still determines the impact of the game. Now, as far as the Lakers, I can see them going to the Western Conference Finals. I can see them going to the Western Conference Finals. Now, who they play in the Western Conference Finals, and that's if they are fortunate enough to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Whoever they play, it remains to be seen. But I am going to say, if the Lakers are playing the San Antonio Spurs in a Game 7 on the road, I would give the edge to the Los Angeles Lakers because they have more playoff experience than the Spurs. But the Spurs, one thing about the Spurs, anybody that comes off the bench for the Spurs can put up 12 plus points. For the Spurs, it's not just one guy that you have to focus on. And with the Lakers, it's not just one guy you have to focus on. Now, yeah, we all know that Luka, Austin Reeves, and LeBron, they garner the attention. But you still have 12 other guys on the roster that can pretty much catch fire any night. Now, for the Cavaliers in this situation, I believe that they are a team that's above average. And if the Cavaliers lose to the Atlanta Hawks, somebody, and I do mean somebody, is going to get fired from the coaching staff because the Cavaliers, most of this group of guys, you have under contract for the next 3 years. So nobody from the players' standpoint is getting traded because they all under contract. But as far as coaching wise, assistant coaches and the head coach, I could see the head coach getting fired if the Cavaliers get knocked out of the first round. I can, because this will be the fourth year with this team led by Donovan Mitchell, and you haven't gotten out of the first round. And Donovan Mitchell, he has only gotten out of the first round once in his career. So put all of that together, and the Cavaliers, I can say they are the team in the East that are on pins and needles, and everything hinges on their first round playoff series meeting with whoever they play. Everybody else, as far as coaching, their head coaching search, and if their coach is on the hot seat, Detroit is okay, Boston is okay, the New York Knicks is okay, Atlanta Hawks, Toronto Raptors, Philadelphia 76ers head coach possibly on the hot seat, Orlando Magic is okay. We already know the Miami Heat is okay, and the Charlotte Hornets head coach and coaching staff is okay. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are on the chopping block. Reportedly, they are on the chopping block. Now, what I am going to do is, at the end of the regular season for the NBA, I am going to come out with my head coaching chopping block series, but that will be in another week and a half. The last game that I am going to cover, and this was the final game of last night, it was the Portland Trail Blazers and the LA Clippers. Now, everybody knows that the Portland Trail Blazers and the LA Clippers will be facing each other in the play-in tournament. It's already set in stone. They will be facing each other in the play-in tournament. So what I am going to do is I am going to give you all these statistics from last night's Blazers-Clippers game. For the Portland Trailblazers, Tomani Kamara, 17 points in 33 minutes. Denny Ajavita, 28 points in 34 minutes. Donovan Klingen, 4 points in 29 minutes. Drew Holiday, 30 points in 32 minutes. Scoot Henderson, 15 points in 29 minutes. Bench production, 7 points in 31 minutes. Robert Williams III, 6 points in 18 minutes. Matisse Thybulle, 5 points in 24 minutes. Caleb Love, 2 points in 1 minute. Blake Wesley, 0 points in 1 minute. City Kosko, 0 points in 9 minutes. And Jeremy Grant did not play, right calf strain. Yang Henson did not play because of coach's decision. Damian Lillard, he's been injured all season, left Achilles tendon. Who knows, he'll probably come back next season, but he has already experienced a Achilles injury like this before. Jason Kent did not play because of coach's decision. For the LA Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, 23 points in 36 minutes. John Collins, 17 points in 31 minutes. Derrick Jones Jr., 1 point in 23 minutes. Brook Lopez, 18 points in 36 minutes. Darius Garland, 20 points in 37 minutes. Bench production, 0 points in 6 minutes for Nicholas Batum. Chris Dunn, 3 points in 20 minutes. Jordan Miller, 16 points in 25 minutes. Benedict Mathurin, 4 points in 22 minutes. Ty Washington Jr., 0 points in 1 minute. Kobe Sanders, 2 points in 1 minute. Cam Christie, 0 points in 1 minute. Boban Bogdanovic did not play because of coach's decision. Now, when it comes to team statistics, in this case, Clippers pretty much edged out Portland in most statistical categories as far as being more efficient by shooting less. But the Trailblazers, when it comes to turnovers, Trailblazers, they had more turnovers. But the one thing that helped the Trailblazers out was making more threes. The Clippers and the Trailblazers made 5 more threes than the Clippers last night. And as you all can see, when it comes to turnovers, largest lead of the game, 19 points for the Trailblazers and only 4 points for the Clippers. I'm going to show y'all this. Let's see. Clippers, who would they be facing in the first round? Let's see. The 7 and 10 matchup is the Phoenix Suns and the Golden State Warriors. So the winner of the Suns-Warriors matchup would face the San Antonio Spurs. Well, excuse me, not the San Antonio Spurs. The Clippers and the Trailblazers, they would face the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, all in all, the Spurs and the Thunder, they would be, I would say, heavy favorites in that potential series. But the Clippers and the Portland Trailblazers, really, it's a surprise that they are in this situation because Clippers are the oldest team in the NBA, and the Trailblazers, they are the 7th oldest team in the NBA. And you have a player like Damian Lillard who hasn't played all season, and possibly him coming back next season, that is up in the air. So, what I am telling y'all, when it comes to the Clippers and Trailblazers, don't be surprised if the Clippers and Trailblazers, they both get swept, because that is what I see. And even though that this game It looked like that it was close, but the Trailblazers, as you all can see from the lead that they had in this game, the largest lead that the Trailblazers had was 19, and the largest lead that the Clippers had was 4. So this wasn't a close game at all, and I know the final score doesn't replicate how lopsided the game was, but the Clippers, they just made it look a little bit more respectable. That's all. Because 114 to 104, and with all of these statistics that I am looking at, the game it wasn't even this close. So with that, I'm going to show you all the current NBA standings, and we have a lot of teams that have some letters by the side of their names. Now, every team that has a Y beside their name, for the Detroit Pistons, Oklahoma City Thunder, San Antonio Spurs, Los Angeles Lakers, the Y means that they have clinched their division. Now, for the letter X, Boston Celtics, New York Knicks, and the Denver Nuggets, what that means is they have clinched a playoff berth. And the teams that have 2 letters by their name, PB, they clinched a play-in berth. Clippers, Portland Trailblazers, Portland Trailblazers, Golden State Warriors, and that is pretty much who has all clinched a play-in berth as of this moment. So with that, those are my reactions to last night's NBA Tuesday night slate. Please like, comment, share, subscribe to Keytime Sports right here on YouTube, Key City Sports on Instagram, and the KeyOnMillions.co. Here is my profile. Here is my merchandise. We just rolled out new merchandise last month, and here are the new shirts. We also have a new logo. Here is the new logo. And here is my media feed for all of my different segments, sound bites, and clips from previous shows. And I just did a segment on my biggest prediction for the rest of 2026. So if you want to see that, go check it out. And remember, everybody, one last thing, the key is always on time.